So we'll start with the module 5. So in the module 5, we'll be discussing about the concept structures, pointer concepts, and preprocessor directives. So let's start with structures. So coming to the definition of a structure. So structure is a collection of elements of same or different data types under a single name. So we already studied about variables. Okay, so variable is used for storing a single data. Okay, so in variable you can store only a single data. Then we discussed about array. So array is a collection of elements of same data type. Okay, if I declare int a of 5, then this is an array with the name a, and it can store 5 elements of same data type, that is integer. Same way, if I declare float a1 of 10, so here I can store 10 elements in the array of type float of same data type. So all the 10 elements should be of type float. So here in the array you can store elements but of same data type, but whereas in structure it is a collection of element of same, or you can store of different data types. So that is the main difference between array and structure. So let's understand the syntax of a structure. So first, initially we will look into structure definition. Okay, the syntax of a structure. So this is how we will define the structure definition syntax. So we are using the keyword struct. So this is a keyword we are using. Followed by that, we are defining a tag name. So nothing but the name for a structure. And within the curly braces, we are defining the members. Okay, so we are defining the members. So you can have any number of members. Okay, so how you define the members? Data name, data type name, and the member name. Data type, member. Okay, like this we will define the member. So here we will not use the word elements, but instead we will be using the word members. And remember, we have to end terminate with a semicolon. So here we have an example, a simple example. So we are defining a structure with the name, the tag name is employee. Okay, so here we are defining a structure with the tag name employee, and this can, in the structure we are storing the employee details. So here in this example we are storing 3 details of different data types. So here we have declared a string. So this is a string. We have already studied string. So this is a string. So maximum size is 20. Okay, the size of string is 20. So we are using this string to store name. Okay, employee name. Next, we are using another member. Okay, salary of type float for storing the employee salary. Another member of type int, and it is used for storing the employee number. So here we have 3 members. Okay, name, salary, and employee number of different data type, character, float, and int. So this is the definition of a structure employee. So next is declaring a structure variable. Okay, so if I want to access any of the member of a structure, okay, if I want to access the salary or employee number, or if I want to access the name of an employee, I need to declare a structure variable. Okay, so this is how the syntax we follow for defining the structure variable. So keyword struct, write the tag name, and followed by that you can have any number of structure variable. So variable 1, 2, 3, so on. So here we have an example. Okay, so we have declared two variables, m1 and m2. Okay, so this is how we define struct keyword, followed by that the name of the structure. So previous example, we have defined the structure name as employee, and two variables we are declaring of structure, so m1 and m2. So these are the two variables which are used for storing the records of the employee. So here the employee m1 can have three records. Okay, so this is, we can tell this is employee 1. So employee 1 can have three records, that is name, salary, and employee id. Similarly, the employee 2 can have his own name, salary, and employee id. So like this you can define any number of variables. So the next one is structure initialization. So same as arrays, the initialization can be done in two ways. That is either during compile time or during runtime. So there are two ways of initialization. So compile time means during, while writing the program itself, we are declaring the values. Okay. Runtime means while executing the program, you are asking the input from the user. Okay, so first we will discuss here compile time initialization. Okay, later the slides we will see how to go for structure initialization during runtime. So here this is compile time initialization, assigning the values to the structure member fields. Okay, so member fields in our example it was name, salary, and employee ID. So assigning the values to this member field, it is called as structure initialization. Okay, so this is how the syntax. We are using the keyword struct, followed by that tag name, followed by that variable equal to sign, and in the curly braces we are writing the values of the members, member field values, and terminate with a semicolon. So here we have written, we have initialized the values for the variable m1. Okay, so we are telling m1 can have three values. The member fields are first name. So for name we are giving the value Raj. Next is the salary. So we are giving the value 1000. Next member field is employee number. We are giving the value m1. Same way we can also define the value for one more variable, that is m2. Same way you can write struct employee m2 equal to, so since this is a string, name is a string, we have to place it within a double quote. So write a name. So I'm writing Rani. Okay. Salary, let me take it as 2000, and write one employee ID 21 and terminate with a semicolon. So this is initializing the value for another structure variable, that is emp2. So this is compile time initialization. So next, so in this slide, we have complete structure, definition, declaration, and initialization of employee. So whatever we have studied so far, definition, declaration, and initialization. So all the things we have put it in one single slide. So here we have structure, definition. So same thing, whatever we have studied in the previous slide, we are defining a structure employee with a name, salary, and employee number. We are declaring two structure variable m1 and m2, and we are initializing those two employees with the values. So these two are the initialization. Next one is accessing the members of structures. Okay, so we have members of the structures like the employee name, id, and salary. So how to access those members? So members of structures can be accessed using a special operator, that is dot operator. So we are using an operator that is called as dot operator for accessing the members of the structure. Okay, so this is a syntax: struct variable. So struct variable, we are supposed to write first a struct variable. So for example, we have already discussed previous one, emp1. So that was our struct variable. I want to access salary. Okay, so what was the name that we had given? Salary was the member name. So just write the name of that member. So this will give the employee one salary. So what was employee one salary? So in the previous slide we have discussed, right? What was employee one salary? That is 1000. So this will give you the value 1000. So this is how you can access the members of the structure. Consider the structure, definition, and initialization as shown below. So take an example. Okay, consider this. So we will understand this. So this is our structure. Okay, and we have initialized the values for the structure variable e. So we have created a variable e. Okay. Now, if I write e1 dot name. Okay. So this is our id. So this is my id, this is salary, and this is name. Okay, now if I write e1 dot name, so e is a variable name, e1 dot name will give you the value Raj. Okay, you can access the value Raj. E1 dot salary will give you the value 1000. So that is second value. E1 dot employee number. Okay, the employee number associated with the variable E, that is 1. So this is a value that will be returned. Displaying the various members of structures. If I want to print, okay, I want to print the name, salary, and employee number. So how I'm supposed to write? Okay, I'm supposed to write same as printing the variable. Okay, small change. So yeah, same way we have to use printer statement. Okay, if I want to print anything, I have to use printer statement, and we are printing the name of the employee. So what is the data type we have used? It is a string, correct? It is a string. Okay, since it is a string, we are using the format specifier percentage yes, and we are writing e dot name. So this will print the name of the employee. What is e dot name? So e dot name is Raj. So it will print the value Raj. Okay. So make sure that we have not used. We have used percentage yes here. Okay. Same here. If I want to print the salary, okay, salary is of type float. We are using percentage f e dot salary. And if I want to print employee number, it is of type int. We are using percentage d and write e dot employee number. So here we are supposed to write a variable name, followed by that we are using a special operator dot, and followed that by that we are writing the member name which I want to print. So next is reading. Okay, you want to take the input for various member values. Okay, reading the values of various members of the structure. I want to take the input from the user name. I want to take the input for name. I want to take the input for salary and employee number. Okay, so for reading we are using scanf statement. Okay, I want to read the name which is declared as string. We are using percentage s and write e dot name. We are not using ampersand here because for string we are not supposed to use ampersand. Okay, which you already discussed in string concepts. Okay, similarly, if I want to read the salary, scanf statement percentage f ampersand e dot salary. Same way, if I want to read employee ID, so this is how I'm supposed to write percentage D ampersand E dot employee number. So here we have a program. Okay, the program is to read the employee number, name, salary, and print the details. So whatever we have studied so far, okay, we will discuss all those things in brief with the help of a program. Okay, so this is how you are supposed to get the output. You are supposed to ask the user. Okay, so you are supposed to ask the user enter name, salary, and number of employees. So you have to take the details of the employees. So what are the details? Name. So we are given the input Raj. Enter his salary. You are using 1,000, and employee sum. Enter some employee ID. Here we are taken 1. Okay, and then display that. Okay, whatever we have entered, display that. Enter name, salary, and number of the employee is display that Raj 1,000.00 because it is of type float. That is why we are getting 6 zeros after decimal point and display the employee ID. Okay, so how will you write the program? So first, so we don't need any special header files. Okay, so only one header file is more than enough. std standard input output header file. So we are supposed to write 3 member fields. So we need 3 fields: number, employee number, name, and salary. So this is the structure we are defining. Okay, now the point is where to define the structure, whether to define the structure inside the main or outside the main. So here you can define the structure either inside the main or outside the main. Okay, so anywhere we can define the structure. It is not necessary that you have to define the structure always outside the main. You can also define the structure inside the main. Okay, so we are declaring a struct of name employee with the 3 fields: name, salary, and employee. Okay, so we are storing 3 records. Okay, name, salary, so just write SL, and employee number. Okay, so next inside the main we are declaring Okay, if I want to access the name, salary or number, we want a variable, structure variable. So we are defining a structure variable E. Okay, structure variable E. Next, you have to ask the user to enter 3 member values. Okay, so we are using scanf statement. Okay, either you can write 3 scanf statement, or you can just write 1 scanf statement and take all the 3 values. So we can write e dot name to take name. Okay, e dot employee number, e dot salary. So name is of type string, percentages, number, employee number is of type integer, so percentage D, salary is of float, so percentage F. Okay, simple. So E dot name, E dot employee number, E dot salary. And next you have to print those. So assume that you have taken the input Raj, salary 1000, and employee number 1, okay, and salary 1000. Print. Next one, we have to print those 3 details. So we are using printf statement. Okay, print name, employees number, and salary. Okay, so this is a very simple program. Okay, in the exam, if at all they ask you with an example, explain the concept of a structure, you can write this simple program and explain the concept of structures. Next is arrays inside structure. Okay. So arrays inside structure. So I want to declare an array. Okay, I want to declare an array inside a structure. So we have defined a structure with the name student. Okay, with the name student. So what are the details we can store? The name of the student, USN of the student, and the marks. Okay, so here this is an array, okay, integer array, which is used for storing the marks of a student. So how many subject marks we are storing? We can store 3 subject marks. So what is the size of the array? It is 3. Okay, next we have one more member, okay, with the name total, for finding the total of 3 subject marks. So I'll just show you the output. Okay, so this is all the output. So first enter the name USN. So you're asking the user to enter the name and USN. This is a USN, this is a name, and you're asking the user to enter the marks of 3 subjects. So we are using an array for storing these 3 marks, 50, 60, and 70. And then we are printing the student with the USN 101 and with the name Raj is having the total marks 180. So this is how you're supposed to display the output. Okay, so let's understand the program. So this is a structure. We have defined a structure variable. So we are storing only a single student details. Okay, a single student details. We have to store his name, USN, marks, and find the total of 3 marks. Okay, first ask the user to enter the name and the USN. So same as you ask the user to enter the employee number and the salary in the previous example, same way you are asking using the scanf statement. Ask the user to enter USN, yes dot USN. So what is this? Yes is a variable. Yes is our variable. Okay, s dot usn, okay, which is of type what? Int. So that is why you are using percentage d. Next, ask the user to enter name, s dot name, which is of type string. So we are using, okay, this is of type string, so we are using percentage yes and no ampersand here. So asking the user to enter these two fields. Next, we have to ask the user to enter the marks in the 3 subjects. Okay. So we have already discussed about arrays. So if I want to input the element values, okay, the values of the values into the array, we have to use the loop concept. Okay, so we have to use for loop to input the elements to the array. The same thing here also we are using. So enter the marks in 3 subjects. So here we are using for loop. So for I is equal to 0. So we have declared an array marks. Okay, just write marks. Okay, of size 3. So 3 subject marks you can store 0, 1 and 2. Okay, with the index 0, 1 and 2. So our index starts with 0 and maximum it can have the value 2. Okay, so I can write either I less than 3 or I can also write I less than or equal to 2. So I value can maximum it can go up to 2 or less than 3. So any one you can write. So I is equal to starts with 0. I can take value less than 3. Okay, then okay, so initial value is 0, 0 is less than 3, yes. Scanf we are using, so yes dot marks, yes is a student variable, structure variable, marks of 0. Okay, so marks of 0 is this one. Okay, enter the marks, so I'll enter 50. Okay, next s dot total, so initially s dot total will be having value 0, just value it will be having 0 plus s dot marks, s dot marks, what is the s dot marks? S of marks of 0, that is 50. So in total variable, in the total variable, so what is the value? So 0 plus 50, it will be 50. Okay, next increment the value of I will become 1. So 1 is less than 3, yes condition is true. Input the value of s of s dot marks of 1, so input the values, so 60. Then s dot total, so what is the value in total? So total it is having 50. Okay, 50 plus s of s dot marks of 1, so what is now I value is 1, s dot marks of 1 it is 60, so it will become 110. So now the total will be having 110. Okay, next increment the value of I will become 2. 2 is less than 3, yes condition is true. Take the value s dot marks of 2, so store some value 70 I will take. Okay, next, so initial now total is having s dot total is having 110, 110 it is having plus s of marks of I, that is 70. So now 110 plus 70 it will become 180, which will be stored in total. Increment the value of I will become 3. 3 is less than 3, condition fails, so we'll come out of the for loop and we'll go to the printf statement and print the details. So student with the USN 101 with the name Raj will be having the mark s dot total is having 180. So this is how we are using arrays inside structure. Okay. A simple example showing how you can use array in a structure. Next is array of structures. So next is array of structures. So here we have array of structures. So what is array of structures? So array of structure means we are having not just one variable array, a structure variable, but instead we are having several array variable which is stored in the form of array. Okay, see here, instead of I want to store 10 employee details. Okay, I want to store 10 employee details. So instead of creating E1 comma E2 comma so on, E3, E4, E5, E6, E7, E8, E10, 10 variables like this. Okay, instead of creating 10 variable like this, I can just create 10 variable by using the concept of arrays. So simply I can write E of 10. So this will create 10 employees. Okay, so in this structure variable E of 10, I can store 10 employee details. So 10 different employee details like name, salary, and employee ID I can store. So instead of writing E1 and E2, so on, E10 in a single line, I can simply write E of 10. Okay. So I want to store 10 employee details. Okay, so this is array of structures. So I have created a structure employee. Okay, I have created a array. So what is array name? E. Okay, and I can store 10 employee details. So it will having the index, since it is an array, it is having the index 0, 1, okay, 2, so on, 9. Okay, last index, since we are starting it from 0, it will be 9. So 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this will be, so I have not written all. So like this, you can store 10 employee details. So since it is an array, okay, so array name will be having the base address. Okay, so let's just assume that it is having the base address 1000. Okay, so this array name will be having always the base address of the array. So array name will be pointing to the base address of the array. So you can store 10 employee detail, but here, okay, I'm not storing all the 10 employee details. I'll just show you the example for storing 2 employee details. So I will take n value is equal to 2. I will be storing only 2 employee details. Okay, so you can store 10 employee details, but here in the example I'm showing that I can store only 2 employee details. Okay, for I is equal to 0, I is less than 2. So I can store how many details? So I'm telling that I want to store 2 employee details. So this is what? This is E of 0. Okay, so this is E of 0, and this is E of 1. So this will be having some. So here I can store how many details? 3 details in E of 0. That is name. I'll just write N, salary, and number, employee number. Here also in E of 1, I can store name, salary, and employee number. This is also an array. Okay, this is also an array. This is also will be having some base address. Let me take it as uh, 5,000. Just an assumption, 5,000. Okay, and this is also will be having some base address. I'll take 6,000. Okay, so that base address will be stored here. Okay, so this is 5,000 and this is 6,000. So some memory locations will be allocated. Memory space will be allocated for this structure. Okay, so this is our first employee details and this is for storing our second employee details. Okay, so E of 0, I is equal to 0, I less than 2. So I'll be storing, means not all 10 employee details, only 2 employee details I'll be storing. Enter the details of the employee. So I plus 1. So I plus 1 means 0 plus 1. So I'm asking to enter the details of the first employee. So enter the name, salary and the number of the employees. So I'll be writing E of 0. What is initial value of I? 0. E of 0 dot name. What is E of 0? E of 0. So E of 0 is here. Dot name. So that is this field. E of 0 dot name. So that is this field. So write some name. Raj. So get the input Raj. Next one is E of 0 dot salary. So enter some salary. Same way E of 0 dot employee number. Take it 1. Okay. Next increment the value I will become 1. Okay. So employee details 1 plus 1. So that is second employee detail. So enter the detail of employee 2. So enter same way E of what is the value of I? I is 1. So E of now 1. So E of 1 dot name. So that is this field. So write some name. Right. I'll write Taj. Right. Next E1 of a salary. So that is take some salary. E1 dot employee number. So take it as a 2. Okay. So this is how you are storing two employee details. Okay. Okay. Next you have to print those details. Okay. So to print those details, we will be using for loop. We'll be using for loop. So this is, you can see you have stored it in the form of array, correct? In E of 0 you are having first detail, in E of 1 you'll be having second employee detail. So to display this, okay, since it is array of variable, structure variable, we cannot use just a printf statement. You have to use a for loop to print the elements. Okay, so here I is equal to 0, I less than n. What is the value of n? N is a 2. So we'll start with I is equal to 0. Okay, so enter details of employee I plus 1, that is 0 plus 1 1. Same way, instead of printf scanf statement, here you will be having printf statement. E0 of name. E0 of name is what? It will be printing Raj. Okay, it will be printing Raj. Next, E0 of salary, it will be printing salary. Next, it will be printing employee number. Next, increment the value of I will become now 1. Okay. Next, E1 of name, print Taj. E1 of salary, print 2000. E1 of number, print employee number. Increment the value of I will become 2. 2 less than 2, condition fails. So this is how we will be taking the input of 2 employees and displaying the details of 2 employees. So like this you can store, okay, 1000 employee details or even more details. Okay, so you need not write E1 E2 till E1000. Instead of that you can simply write E of 1000. Okay, so this is the concept of array of structures. This is a sample output. Okay, so we are entering 2 employee details. Okay, and it will display the 2 employee details. Execute this program and check the output. Okay. So next we'll discuss. Okay. Next topic we'll discuss in the next class.